Okay, so imagine this. You're walking through a medieval garden, right? And the vegetables growing there, most of them, we don't even know what they are anymore. Not because they sucked, not because they tasted bad. We just forgot about them. And honestly, when I started researching this, it kind of blew my mind, because these weren't just random plants. These were foods that people depended on, foods that kept them alive through brutal winters, and now, gone. Let me start with the one that honestly shocked me the most, skirret. Medieval farmers had this root vegetable that was sweeter than carrots, easier to grow than basically anything. You plant it once, and it just keeps growing, underground, multiplying, creating more food without you doing anything. Historical records show nobles demanded it in their palace gardens. Poor people relied on it when everything else died in winter. You could roast it, boil it, throw it in stews, even make pies with it. And here's what's wild. Modern botanical studies have actually analyzed skirret. It produces about 40% more edible mass per square meter than carrots, with half the maintenance requirements. We abandoned it purely for commercial reasons. It doesn't ship well. Think about that. We chose convenience over efficiency. But here's what really gets me. These weren't obscure plants that only weird herbalists knew about. These were everyday foods. Take Alexander's. The Romans brought this to Britain, and medieval people went crazy for it. You could eat every single part. The stems tasted like celery. Flowers went in salads. Seeds worked as pepper. Roots could be cooked. And it grew like a weed. Didn't need help. Just spread everywhere along roads and beaches. Food historians point out something fascinating here. Alexander's was replaced by celery in the 1700s, not because celery was better, but because it had a milder flavor that became fashionable. It's basically food snobbery that erased a more nutritious plant. Today, it still grows wild all over coastal Europe. People walk right past it and have no idea they're looking at something that used to feed entire villages. Alright, now this next one is genuinely weird. Salsify. It's a root vegetable. Looks kinda ugly, but when you cook it, historical cookbooks describe the taste as remarkably similar to oysters. I'm serious. Oysters. Monastery records from the 1400s show salsify being specifically mandated during Lent. And get this, some records suggest monks actually preferred it over fish. But if you think salsify is strange, wait. Medlar, fresh off the tree, rock hard, bitter, completely inedible. You have to let it sit for weeks until it goes soft and brown, basically controlled rotting. Medieval people literally waited for their fruit to rot before eating it. And historical descriptions say once it was ready, it tasted like cinnamon mixed with applesauce. Modern farming said, "Nah, too weird, too slow. We wanted perfect-looking fruit immediately." Here's the pattern I keep seeing. We chose convenience over everything else. Chickweed. Modern nutritional analysis shows 7 times more vitamin C than oranges. 7 times. Grows everywhere, year-round, for free. Archaeological evidence shows medieval people, rich and poor, harvested it all winter when nothing else was green. Today, we spray poison on it and call it a weed. And then there's fat hen. The modern research on this one actually makes me angry. Recent studies show more protein than cabbage. more iron than spinach, more calcium than kale. Archaeological reports from multiple sites across Europe consistently find fat hen seeds in medieval garbage heaps. Rich households, poor households, monasteries. Everyone ate this. During famines, historical texts specifically mention it as the poor man's salvation. We kicked it out because it didn't look like a real vegetable. And here's what really gets me. Botanical studies have shown that in equivalent growing conditions, modern spinach needs fertilizer, constant watering, produces about 200 grams per square meter. Fat hen grows on its own, needs almost nothing, produces 340 grams of more nutritious leaves per square meter. We're literally choosing to work harder for less nutrition. Look, if you're into this kind of stuff, forgotten history, food stories that actually matter, hit subscribe. I've got so many more of these coming.